All right, what's up, everybody? This your boy, MrTMoney1993, aka Straight Facts, because that's all I speak on this YouTube. And coming back after a tough, difficult loss to the Seattle Seahawks in the divisional round of the playoffs. I'm here with my boy Tony from Cat Chronicles.
What up, my man? It is, yeah, it was tough. Tough. It was tough, and it wasn't. I'm working on a piece for the website right now called "No Shaming Carolina's Game," and we played a tough team. We played a team that their defense, dude, is no joke, and then you got a quarterback that made miraculous plays, and so I think it has less to do with what the Carolina Panthers did in some cases, and man, Seattle just played a good game.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I said on Google Plus after the game that I was disappointed, yes, because I know we was in that game and we had a great chance to win that game. But I wasn't really mad like I am after most losses. You know what I'm saying? Seattle is a damn good team. They're the defending Super Bowl champs, and they proved why it's so hard to beat them at CenturyLink, man. It went from being a 7 point game to being what at 1 point 21 games in the midst of the one quarter. And
Yeah, changed in like two plays, really, it seemed like, is that they scored a touchdown. And then I I think the game was a lot closer than the score reflected. I think that's one thing to go ahead and point out is that Carolina played that team about as tough as there's probably only two teams in the NFL that I think that could have played Seattle tougher than we did there at that current juncture. How they're feeling as a team in that environment. I thought Cam. I'm totally on the other side of the fence for most people. I thought Cam had one of his better games of his career. And even though he did make one big time play that resulted in like a 98-yard touchdown interception, I mean, he played pretty darn well. And despite some of the other guys on the team, making some big drops and making some mistakes. So you're right. I mean, look, you're playing a team that was certainly legitimate. You Their defense, the Cam Chancellor guy had a game of, I don't know if I've seen a safety play a game like that ever in
yeah,
the NFL. I cannot think of just one safety that was such a game changer by himself doing all kinds of crazy mess. Um, but I think the Carolina Panthers came in there. I think they played hard, and I think they were really in that game. I think you make one more defensive play. Ben A gets a hand on that ball. Boston gets a hand, makes a tackle, um, or or that Kelvin Benjamin catch where he had that right foot out the backside of the end zone. I feel like all of those things. I mean, it could have changed on a dime, and
yeah.
then once you get
Um,
touchdowns, it's tough to come back in Seattle.
exactly. And all the keys to the game that I made before the game, they all really showed up as far as whoever wins the turnover battle, whoever won the red zone battle. Um, we had our red zone demons again, and this time in the red zone, not only did we not get three, we had a turnover. Now, the way that I saw the Cam Chancellor play was just a great play on the ball to Cam Chancellor because Ed Dixon was open. Cam threw the pass out there. Cam Chancellor, he said it even in his post game interview. He knew that they was blitzing. He knew that he could take a chance on that play. That it was probably gonna have to be coming out quick and ready. And he made a play on the ball and just got it and didn't even slow down at all.
You know,
Cam was gonna try to make a play at him, but the way he was moving with that head start, I don't think nobody was catching him.
my
Uh,
wife my wife got upset about that play. She thought that the receiver didn't come back at the ball hard enough.
I tweeted that. But I mean, you know Ed Dixon. You know Ed Dixon is bless
He's
his
also
heart.
around on the first down marker too. So like you need to stay right there where you're at. So coming back, uh, I heard an interesting thing from my boy Steve Logan on the radio today,
Oh
and
God.
he said this. He's a big quarterback guru. I mean, he trains quarterbacks. That's what he does. And he said Cam made a fundamental error, and you could see it. And he says, you never tell a quarterback to go with his eyes from right to left and then back from left to right. Now I don't know the mechanics of why they might tell a quarterback to do that. I don't know the ins and outs of the position well enough. I'm guessing that it just takes too long for the play to develop, and by the time you get back to that all the way back, when you scan right to left and then all the way back left to right, everybody knows where you're going at that point. I mean it wasn't a good pass. I mean it was a little late. It was a little but I felt also at that point you're asking Cam to try to do a lot. I mean, you're not playing your game where you're trying to run the ball and you can mix things up. You're behind and you're trying to play comeback football, and we don't really have a team that can do that well. But I mean, I felt like he hit guys, man. I mean, Kotri dropped that ball right in the beginning. The Tolbert drop was on third down.
Change the whole game, man. If he gets that first down, we was only what? We were still down at that point, though. What? I mean, down 7.
Down 7. I think we're down 7, but you draw the clock out. You don't give them the ball back, and you might make something happen. But you got to give Seattle credit, man. Russell Wilson, dude. Russell Wilson threw a damn 35-yard fadeaway jump shot to
Yeah.
Luke Wilson.
It's hard to understand all the people that had them complaints about his height, because he just knows how to get the ball there. He knows how to get it around, above, whatever he had to do. Even I don't know if you saw that play, but CJ was coming down with a sack, and Russell Wilson kind of flicked it over him a little bit, and Charles Johnson tried to jump, and he couldn't get it. And Russell Wilson's only what, 5'11"?
Yeah, I mean, maybe 5'10" almost. I mean, he's crazy. He's awesome, dude. He's a playmaker. I heard somebody describe him as just a special dude, and that's the truth. And that shouldn't take away from Cam Newton. It shouldn't take away from the Carolina Panthers. He just made some damn plays that weren't even fair, man.
Yeah. Even that little throw he had over Trey Boston. I mean, yes, Trey Boston got beat, but to have that kind of accuracy to put it in there, man.
Yeah, he's throwing these damn things up, and they would have hit if we were in. I mean, they might as well hit the rafters. If that thing would have fully been closed in, it would have hit the rafters. So
Yeah.
he was awesome, but I think that this game falls more on Carolina's defense if you want to look somewhere on the team to find a problem. I mean, they just failed. They just got beat a couple of times for some big plays, and that's what happens.
Yeah, they Russell Wilson did what he's supposed to do as a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He saw that we had a couple rookies in the secondary, and he took advantage of both of them. Even though I think Benet came back in the game, but Benet wasn't 100% at all. Even on that whole
shoulder, he just looked like he was holding it almost.
Yeah. So even when he was going to tackle like Luke Wilson, it wasn't gonna work. And I think he knew that. That's why he tried to go for the ball in that one play, where Luke kind of caught it in the flat, and Benet tried to go after the ball, and he went down hurt. I think he just knew. But again,
trying to strip it.
Huh? Yeah.
Trying to strip the ball instead of tackling.
Yeah. Because we've seen a lot since Benet's got playing time that he's not scared to get up on somebody and make that tackle.
Nah, I think he got hurt doing that. He tried to level a dude down the sideline, and I think that's what dinged up his shoulder. I'm not 100% sure on that. But here's the thing: is that we started 7 rookies, man. We started 7 rookies, and Philly Brown, who played well, hurt. You got Norwell undrafted in there. You got Trey Turner, who only played a year in college. So it's not like they're all 7 rookies that were number 1 prospects at the same.
Yeah.
You got 7 number 1 draft picks. We were trying to polish a turd or make a tin can in the gold, and they played tough, man. They played tough. I thought that Rivera seemed to have a good game, but we just don't have the playmakers, dude. We just didn't have. We need somebody explosive in the receiving core.
Yeah, I think. I think a healthy Philly makes a little bit more of a difference, because I've been trying to tell y'all for the whole year, and y'all didn't listen to me. But I hate Burson. Can we officially give up on that project now?
I mean, he stinks, dude. I mean,
He doesn't get it done for me as a receiver. He doesn't get it done as a returner. I mean, I understand, but I'm still at this point where like I feel like he's on the team because he went to Wofford.
and he's Jerry Richardson's neighbor. Um,
Yeah,
I mean, he's a good story. He's a fan favorite. I don't know if I necessarily say he shouldn't be getting the playing time that he's getting. That's what it really comes down to. It don't even really matter if he's on the team and he didn't play at all. If he just played special teams, and when I say special teams, not the most important role on special teams. Um,
yeah.
but here, speaking of Burson, he's no threat as a receiver. Yes, he catches the ball when you throw it to him, but it doesn't matter. You're right. He had some important drops, but what he represents is what maybe was the turning point of that game, and that is our special teams are so ineffective.
If
Uh,
we don't fire Richard, if we don't fire Rogers, I have a problem after the end of this year.
we started, and this is where I want to punch all the Cam Newton haters, and I feel like I'm such a Cam Newton apologist, man. Um, he started like 5 drives within the 15-yard line against the #1 defense in the league. And we ain't talking about just the #1 defense. Them mugs are ballers, yeah. And you're trying to ask Cam Newton with very little help to start on the 5-yard line? I mean, come on. That's a tall order, bud.
Yeah, at this point, it's you don't even hope for Burson to have a return on punt return. I'm just praying and hoping that he catches the ball. If he
I
catches a
I tweeted last week when we were in that when we were in the Arizona game and it was really bad, that once they kick the ball, he should just run to the sidelines and check out of the game.
once they kick the ball, what?
Like when the ball's in the air, he should just run to the sidelines and check out.
Exactly.
Just join the team on the sidelines because he was a liability back there. And here's the thing: is it don't matter even if you catch the ball. If you're not, we didn't have any positive yardage on special teams
At all. He had that one kickoff return where he took it maybe to 20, 25.
Yeah, I think, and we've been saying this over and over and over, is why isn't Fozzie getting a look on special teams? Because when he gets the ball off a kickoff return, he seems to have some real focus on what he wants to do. You know, he doesn't hesitate. He just runs and knows what he's going to do. Something could happen with him. I like him.
Yeah, which of course I've heard a lot of the whole, are we gonna let D'Angelo go because of the way he's been playing? But at that point, if he's the second running back and your first running back is Jonathan Stewart, can you afford to play him on special team?
I think this year we could have. I think that what you're saying is next year, if D'Angelo Williams is gone, then you're raised a legitimate question. But there was no risk this season.
Yeah, I definitely would have done it this season. Now, like I said, if you get rid of D. Will for next season, but I mean that brings me to somebody that I would love to have who could play special teams, is if we get Randall Cobb.
You think that's going to happen? I mean, actually, you think that when I say that's going to happen, not the Carolina part, you think that Green Bay is going to part ways with Randall Cobb?
With Green Bay, I mean, it could be a simple situation of, because this is one breakout year, we feel like he shouldn't get the big money because we have an Aaron Rodgers who boosts just that.
I just feel like Green Bay might value him enough to where they make room for him. Maybe not. Maybe they just feel like they can plug. And they did go and draft Devontae Adams, who had a really nice rookie season.
Yeah, I was definitely a Adams fan at draft time. Him and Kelvin was the two people that I wanted at draft time, whichever one was there. Um, but yeah, like I said, I'm just thinking, because they let some other guys go. They let Greg Olson go. Didn't they let Driver go or he retired?
Who? Oh, Driver,
Down,
Driver. He's retired. Finally.
yeah,
Good Lord. But he was still good, even though he's like 900.
yeah,
Here, let me ask you this about Cobb. Is that give the same argument for why you wouldn't want Fozzie on returns if he was the number 2 running back? Would that, if you brought in Cobb as your free agent wide receiver, would that maybe would that bother you to risk him as well?
I don't think so because for one, there's a lot more receivers who are punt returners that are starters to me than running backs. And even if he seemed to get hurt next year, that's when you have a Philly Brown who doesn't have to start now, who could run the routes that Randall Cobb would be running.
I like Philly Brown. I think he's definitely got to be your number 3 receiver. You
I
know,
agree. I would love for him to be. Well, my ultimate prize receiving core would have been to have Hill in the core. Um,
he traveled with,
even
even though, you know what, everybody, I got lambasted on Twitter for saying that mess. For saying if Philly Brown is not available, let's give Stephen Hill a go. People acted like I was retarded.
because they talk about his drops in New York or whatever. They try to say his reason for not playing right now is because he still has that problem. But honestly, at this point, our number one receiver has a problem dropping the ball.
Yeah.
What
It's
can it?
like the guys that are running the routes run beautiful. They can run the full route tree. Um, it's not like, and they say he plays small. All of these things, all of that is on the context of you needing him to be your number 1, and that's
Which
what.
he had to be in New York because who else did they have a receiver?
Yeah, but if he is
Because
your number
honestly,
3 off the practice
for anybody who
squad,
ever does, when I play on Madden, I put Hill on the outside, KB on the other side, Philly in the slot, and Kotri in the slot, and they be doing numbers. Because I don't want Kotri is not an outside receiver at this point in his career. I know we were excited because he was coming off the 10 touchdown year, but honestly, a lot of his touchdowns in Pittsburgh was red zone touchdowns.
well, he didn't have those this year. Um, we still, to me, this team would have been better with Steve Smith. And I hate bringing up his name because it's so much in the past. But you put Steve Smith on that roster uh, without Kotri, I think we would have been better. I think Kotri, Smith, and Benjamin Smith and Brown would have been a better trio. Here, think about this though.
But the
What if
thing with that is, would
like
KB have developed if Smitty was here? Because when is Smitty really had to deal with a receiver being as good as him?
I just it's so hard for me to understand how you could let an individual like that be so counterproductive in a locker room. I mean, what would he say? He's just not getting the ball enough, and
I mean,
cry
he
about it.
has said that.
And you would say, "Oh well, I mean, so what? I mean, we'll cut you." Here, what do you put? You know what? If we would have put Julio Jones on the other side of Kelvin Benjamin, how good would that team have been? That's the type of guy we need. Julio
Wh-
Jones.
Yeah,
That
which
type
is
of guy.
which is why I like Kevin White out of West Virginia, or even what's his name, Devontae Parker. They're both big guys with that speed. Or even if we got Sammy Coates in the second round, out of Auburn, they're all big guys with that 4.3, 4.4 speed who can kind of run the whole route tree. Because Julio can kill you. Julio can get a slant and take it to the house. He can run a deep route and beat you flying down the field. He can run every route and get that separation, which I do think is somebody that we need. Um, if it was up to me, I would draft a big, like one of those big fast guys early and come back later on in the draft to get a smaller, faster slot guy who could be a punt returner. Because it's easier to find that a little bit later than necessarily early in the draft. Like as many people as I had to hear talk about me when I said it, I did not want to take Brandon Cooks last year.
What, 2 years ago? Oh, excuse me, Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks. Why is that? Because it's so high of a pick on such a little dude.
Yeah, and as far as the durability issues, and then what happened? He got hurt with New Orleans.
Yeah, I mean he broke his hand though. Um, yeah, what you're trying to do is that when you draft a little guy like that, you're trying to draft a Steve Smith, and I don't know if that's a smart move overall. It's
Because
just
it's a lot of Steve Smiths who don't make it for that one Steve Smith.
yeah, it's just so risky that you have to, have a higher proficiency bet. But what do you think about? I mean, I really think that
Plus, my whole thing was also as well, what is Cam's biggest problem?
overthrowing.
So what are you going to do with Brandon Cooks?
Yeah, I think Cam's biggest problem is it's not that he overthrows receivers, is that he throws off his back foot too much. He needs to learn how to, if he just starts stepping into the ball. Now, a lot of these times we don't give him a lot of, we knock on him because of this, but it's because the offensive line is just getting pushed back into his feet.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, that's what he's doing. But sometimes it's just poor mechanics.
Which actually, I was proud of him in that Seattle game. I seen a lot of him dropping back. The pressure comes, he slides in the pocket, whether it was up or whether it was to the side, and makes the throw. I actually seen him do probably as bad a good of a job as I seen him do since the beginning of the year when he was, totally not able to run.
You know what I saw from Cam Newton that I liked a lot in this game was we started out slow. We started out. He had some receivers cause problems for him. That dropped some plays that were, good reads. He did the right thing. He made some mistakes, but he didn't seem to get mentally down. I thought he looked composed. I thought he looked like he really thought that they could do it. And that's where we think where Cam, that's where Cam gets in his own head. He gets so nervous for all of these things that it gets to him. And I felt like he took a big step forward. Yeah, he made a couple mistakes, but who wasn't going to make a mistake like that in that environment?
Yeah, I feel like I agree with that. I feel like, and again, what can give him more of that trust is you have that defense to where, hey, if I take a chance on third down and we don't get it and we get a good putt, then my defense can hold them, so you don't have to press as much. When I got worried about was when we started getting down that whole, 13, 14, 21 points, and I tweeted, I was like, come on now, Cam, don't panic, settle down, and let's get it, you know what I'm saying, let's get right. To me, since when the defense is playing well, that's the only time I really like, come on, Cam, don't have what most people call them Tony Romo moments, is if we get down by a good bit. But most of the time that's not happening because our defense is that good.
Right. I totally agree. I don't think he showed those signs of panic. I think that when they were able to pull ahead and make and connect on those big passes and get ahead, it made us a one-dimensional team. You had difficulty. You can't run the ball when you're not getting the yards on the ground, even when the circumstances are right. So now you need to hurry the game up a little bit. You're definitely not going to get the yards on the ground that way. But the Burson, you back to what you were saying about Burson, what we were saying about Cotry, and even what we were saying about I think with Philly Brown is these guys don't get the separation on a one-on-one enough. And
Which to me, Philly can, but Philly with one shoulder is kind of like.
I think he can in a man, I think in 2 years he might be really good. But the problem is he's little, and you're going against some of the top corners and safeties in the league. You've got to be a badass to get past those dudes. You got to be strong. He's kind of skinny. Um, so I feel like this is that when you know you only got one guy that you really got to worry about being the deep threat, is that we couldn't run a lot of good deep routes, and basically Cam's arm is negated by our personnel.
I
Cam's
agree,
one of the
but
great.
I think that goes again with how you play calling and how you lining up. Because we could have kept on attacking Simon because Maxwell didn't play on defense at all. And every
Right.
time we put KB, whether it was Greg Olsen, whether it was Philly on Simon's side, they was putting up they was getting catches, you know what I'm saying? And even on that pick that Cam had when he threw it, when he threw it really deep and tried to test Sherman, if you go back and look at it, Philly was past Sherman. Cam just didn't have enough put on it.
He was. And that was a tough throw to make, I think. I was fine with that. I didn't have any problem with that. Um,
Yeah, it was like a long putt pretty much. But I'm
yeah,
saying if Cam had time and he gets his feet under him, Philly had him beat by a good probably 10 yards.
well, 2 steps.
That was
But
more than 2 steps.
um, what about that Olsen drop? It was a tough catch, but what a pass by Cam Newton. I mean, he
Yeah.
put it in the only place you could put it. Olsen doesn't drop the ball very often. You know, I didn't hear nobody. I listened to a lot of Charlotte radio and stuff like that, and I didn't hear anybody say anything about that today. I didn't hear anybody say anything about these moments. I did hear them talk a lot about the Tolbert play, changing the momentum. But we got beat, man. I want to talk about that Cam Chancellor jumping over the damn offensive line shit.
That goes back to special teams coordinator. Okay, he does it once. Why would you not bring him to the side? Hey, we got to have some kind of plan just in case he does that again. But nope, they let him line up. You can tell when he's gonna do it. He's twitching and he's getting a head start. I guess he knew the snap count, and he runs and does it again. And I seen a couple of the sadly Atlanta fans complain about, oh, why did they call it? Why did they throw the flag? He missed the ball. Gano shanked it because he got scared.
Yeah, yep.
He didn't. It's not like.
He hit him. I mean, like,
Yeah, they was like, oh, why they throw that flag out? Well, first of all, if it's tipped, you can hit him. So that's what they was arguing about first, and then they was like, oh well, Gano's exaggerating. First of all, that's what you tell a kicker or putter at any level to do. I know that from playing just high school ball. We used to have them soccer dudes playing kicker. If anybody gets close to you, hey, just go down. Uh, and he actually did catch Gano in the air.
I just feel like if I was the offensive lineman and they did that to me twice, I would be pissed.
At
Like,
one,
even
at
if it
some
was me sacrificing my block, I would just stand up and throw that dude up in the air.
exactly. I mean, but I'm a lot meaner than that. I probably would have waited on him to jump and grabbed his foot or something, pulled him out the air. But
Even if I missed my block, even if I got a false start, something,
I
I would have.
mean, because at that point, I'm sure the Seahawks defensive line wasn't really trying anymore. They was just figuring, hey, Cam can actually get it this time.
I was surprised he tried it again. That was my thing. It was like the first time I was like, what the hell is this doing? And then he did it again. Like, man, he's like, I do this for a living. And he
That's
did
like, to me
great.
though, as a special teams coordinator, you got to take that as a slap to the face. Like he has no
Had to
respect.
call a timeout, though. You can't, I mean, they ain't making an adjustment right there.
Yeah, but I feel like you kind of take that as a slap in the face. Like he actually got away with that on you twice.
I know. Oh, man, it's embarrassing. I think it's embarrassing to everybody that was on the field.
And then Gano, I mean, because Gano pretty much admitted he was a little
What
punk.
happened to
But
man? What has happened to Gano? He really
fell apart at the end of the year.
he struggled this season. The whole season, I felt like he just did not play like he did last
I
year.
mean, he missed what, around 7 kicks, I think it was this year.
That's a ton. And he was missing kicks like from 30 yards.
Exactly. When we seen Gano, Gano can hit 60 on a good day.
Yeah.
I
Um,
don't. But most of the ones he's missed is 30, 40. Has he really missed anything super long besides the Atlanta game? Where he had to try from like 70.
he's missed two. I know he's missed two in the high 40s. 45 and up. And then yeah, that one in the Atlanta game, which they shouldn't even tried that mess from 65 or whatever. Um, but he missed some easy kicks this year. Some kicks that he got paid to make. Uh, so I feel like there was a lot of
And
failures.
kicks that could change the game if he makes them.
Yeah, there was a lot of bad things on this team. There were some bad things in that game, but I think there was a ton of good things to take away from that Seattle game. I think you see Cam improve as a leader on the field. I think he showed composure. I think the offensive line played pretty darn well for who they are. If you look at the people that it's composed of, um, and then you got a lot
Yeah,
of
I agree, and I feel like,
Trey Boston and Ben A. I mean, those are some positive things to build on in the future.
to do all this, to get our first playoff win with Cam, to win a division with all that we had going on through the year. I mean, I seen a couple of the bottom feeder teams be like, "Why do y'all think y'all have a bright future?" Like a Bucks fan had the nerve to say that their future is supposedly brighter than ours. I've had a Dolphin fan say that their future is brighter than ours. I mean, just look at what we've been through. We had a point where our running backs was what, Darren Reeves and Chris whatever the hell his name was.
And,
We've been at a point where our quarterback was not working out in the offseason at all. I mean, we just been through a lot. We lost a 15 sack guy after one game.
our number one receiver, our ace, was a rookie who
Exactly.
was in a top five. He wasn't a top five pick. He wasn't a top 10 pick. He wasn't even a top 20 pick. You know what I mean? What they got these dudes to do was, I think it was, hey, look, we went just as far in the playoffs as the Denver Broncos and Peyton Manning. We went just as far in the playoffs as Tony Romo and the Cowboys. I mean, I,
I just
I,
feel like we took a lot of those arguments that people had before the year, and we just threw them out the window. Oh, y'all never made the playoffs 2 years in a row. Well, we've done that.
well,
Nope, y'all
I
not
didn't
gonna
look
win.
like people are going to. I think that if you would have asked me in week 10, and you know this, is that
Oh yeah, we know you was
were
teeter totter.
worse. We were worse than I expected, though.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of us was predicting. Well, I was predicting. I can speak for myself. 10 to 12 wins this year. Looking at our schedule before the year. But again, we had a lot happen that we didn't anticipate to happen before the year. And for all the talk about, we losing all our receivers and this, that, and the other, we actually outproduced our receivers from last year. I found this. Our receivers this year had 177 catches as a receiving core compared to 156. We had 2,252 yards compared to 1,983. And yards per catch was the same. So for all the talk about, hey, y'all losing the big plays because Ted Ginn's gone and Smitty's gone, a lot of the Patriots fans, I've had them say thank you for LaFell. His stats are up because he's with Brady,
Oh,
not because he's
that
that
game.
good.
Hey, you see that game? He caught the touchdown. Who did they play? They played this just yet.
Baltimore?
Yeah, Baltimore. Or it was on Saturday, right?
Yeah.
You see, he almost dropped that touchdown.
Yeah, which I've seen him drop some since he's been with
I
New
mean,
England.
it
I
was
don't watch New England like that
breadbasket. It
because they
was
don't come on around here. But
It was right in his breadbasket, and he almost dropped it still.
Yeah. Oh, I just found out Luke made the Pro Football Writers All NFL and All NFC teams,
Of course, best linebacker in the NFL.
and Greg Olsen made it too as the All NFC team.
Yeah, I mean, he played well. I think that Greg Olsen, though, man,
Um,
he can't
so
break.
yeah, congrats to both of them.
Yeah, he can't make a tackle to save his life, though. I mean, break a tackle, Greg Olsen.
Say it again.
Greg Olsen can't break a tackle to save his life. Good Lord. Um,
Oh, that's another topic. Do you think it is time to draft or to try to sign another tight end? Or are you going to give Ed Dixon the contract that he wants?
oh, man, are you going to give Ed Dixon a contract?
Yeah, that's what he said he wants.
Really?
Yeah, he's a free agent.
Well, he was a free agent last year. I don't think he's going to get the contract that he wants. That's for sure. I think you bring back. I think Dixon's forgetting that with Brock.
Don't say swole bones.
Well, you got him and you got Brockle, who plays kind of a bit of both. Who would be more of a blocking tight end.
But we need another pass catcher at this point, to me.
I would prefer it. Look, Shula clearly doesn't run the two tight end set very well or enough to. I mean, I guess maybe it started to look better towards the end. I mean, it depends. Maybe for okay money,
like a 1 year, 2 year deal, maybe for like maybe a little over $1 million.
Oh well, that's the bot. He probably signed something in the range of maybe what what Kotri signed, which is probably a 3-year, $4 million deal, something like that, where you get.
So I didn't even like that for Kotri, because how old is he gonna be in 3 years?
I think what they did is they do that just so that they can spread the money out, so it doesn't hit the cap all in 1 year.
Yeah.
So that you cut him and you pay him a little bit to leave, but it's easier on the team than having to pay him $4 million in a single season.
Yeah. Also, well, for you and for anybody watching, did you hear about Cade Pope?
No.
Say it again.
No, I didn't hear about him.
It's a 12-year-old boy from Oklahoma.
Oh, I did hear about this. Oh, I got some stuff to say about this that I'm going to say about on the C3 podcast, but go ahead.
Yeah, he for anybody who's watching though, he wrote a letter to all 32 NFL teams about who should he be a fan of, and out of all the 32 teams, Jay Richardson was the only one that responded, and wrote him a handwritten letter saying that he would love for him to become a fan of the Panthers and that he'll be proud of the classy way that we represent, ourselves and the team and represent him. So yeah, he decided that he wants to become a Panthers fan. He said that's the only team that wanted him.
Did you hear what Jerry Richardson gave him?
Wasn't a helmet autographed by Luke?
Yeah, he gave him a helmet autographed by Luke Kuechly, handwritten letter. What do you think about this story? Because I got something really to say.
I mean, I definitely, I feel that shows why we're the Panthers doing something like that, reaching out to people, reaching out to between him and what's the little boy that they still keep in communication with him.
George,
Greg, whatever. I can't think of his last name right now. But anyway, the 8-year-old boy that they got for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, I know he's still, well, I don't think he tweets, but somebody from his family still tweets about their support from the Panthers and about how they still, keep up with him. So I think that just shows really why we say things like keep pounding, why we're Panther Nation, why we're the team we are. I think it's a good little story, a good little look for the Carolina Panther fan base.
All right, I don't like this kid.
Because he got the helmet.
Nah, the kid's name, the other kid that you're talking about, the Make-A-Wish kid, I think his name is George Gring. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I think that's it.
No, I don't like this kid tricking himself out to all the teams. I'm all right with him writing the letter because he's from a state that doesn't got a NFL
Football
team.
Yeah.
So he is a free agent football fan. But this is where I got a problem with. The big cat, Jerry Richardson, writes this kid a handwritten letter back. The only guy to respond back to the kid out of all the 32 teams. And on top of that, he gives him a replica helmet, which ain't no joke gift, man. That's a legit gift. You know, it ain't like he sent him a bumper sticker. Signed by the best linebacker in the NFL. And the little kid had the audacity to say that if no other team contacts him, he'll be a Panther fan.
So you think he should automatically be a Panther fan?
Yeah, screw you, little kid. I would say this, is that you are not taking any more suitors. He essentially said, thanks for asking me out, but I'm going to wait to see if some other girl asks me out named Aaron Rodgers.
So you think he waiting to see what better signing bonus he can get right now?
Yeah, man, but that's what he said to a local news station. So, man, you little kid, man, I think it's messed up because I think that was a really cool gesture by Jerry Richardson, the Carolina Panthers fan. It wasn't a half-assed one. It wasn't the typical rubber stamp letter that some intern printed off their printer and sent, and they sent him like a koozie for his milk cup or whatever. Instead,
does that say anything about our team, though, that we can't even sign 12-year-old free agents?
He's still holding that. Man, the free agent market's so bad for the Carolina Panthers, you can't even sign Cade Pope to be a fan.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, he might have to play left tackle next year.
We should put him at playing left tackle.
Or put him at punt return. He can't do no worse than Burson.
Punishment. Put him in. We call that timeout.
Put him at punt returner. He can't be worse than Burson.
Yeah. So, cool thing about, I think a good story by the organization. Jerry Richardson likes to portray himself by that. You just wonder are any other owners going to try to send him a better gift now?
I think at this point, I don't see why you would.
I think they missed the boat. They would look like they're just trying to hop on and be cool.
Yeah, I think it would have been different if, he got a whole bunch of gifts from a whole bunch of different teams. Say if it was even 10 of the teams, and then he decided that, hey, I still want to be a Panthers fan, that would look better. But at this point, if you send him something now, we know, hey, you're just trying to be funny.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that's going to work at this point is to send him a cheerleader.
That or season tickets. You know how much money...
Little Cade Pope, I hope you become a Dallas Cowboys fan.
You know how much money he could make selling season tickets every week because he lives in Oklahoma?
I know. He just made, it's toward his college fund.
Exactly. And that's the best part of having season tickets is when you can't go. Shoot, that'd be some quick money right there.
I'm interested. What do you think that the future? What do you think we're in a good spot going out of this season? Because I felt like we would have said the same thing last season, that we were in a good spot, that the future is bright for Carolina. Do you feel like I think we're gonna have more money to spend this year?
I mean, we got 10. I think we got $10 million right now. I said this last year, but I'm praying for it this year. Hopefully, we will restructure Charles Johnson's contract.
Yeah, that ain't
again. he kind of has a leverage now, especially for not bringing Hardy back.
And he had a monster ass season towards the end. And he's not
Yeah,
going to get any. He's not going to get in. He's getting up at. He's 28, I think, which is crazy.
I
He's
think.
like a mean looking 28, ain't
Yeah,
he?
I think you
So,
may only be able to convince him to restructure it if you tell him at this point, you're not going to get another big deal. So how about we move the money towards the end of the deal, extend the year, so that way, you're still getting paid when you're not as good or when you're retired. I think it's the only way we convince him to do it.
yeah, it would help, wouldn't it? I mean, because he's going to get paid like $16 million or something like that, or maybe that's what he's
More than
getting paid
that,
now.
he's getting paid 20 next year.
That's some big time dough. Um,
Exactly. And at 28, are you really going to get another big contract like that?
well, no, I mean, I don't know. You just don't see him. Maybe not that big. He ain't ever gonna get a big. That contract was awesome for
I
him.
mean, but still, even when his years are up, are we going to give him a deal even where he's making like 10? It's not like basketball. Basketball, when you're 28, that's when you're, for a lot of them, that's when you kind of hitting your prime at 28.
Yeah, I mean, he's
20,
on his back. He's on the back end of his career. You got to think that as a defensive end, you're gonna hit your wall. They can't be much different than a running back.
yeah, when you had Julius Peppers as a teammate, you're old. From when he was a
Yeah,
Panther.
um, I don't know what to do about Charles Johnson, but here I think my man only had 2 sacks like through like week 10. And then he had like 10 sacks. Yeah, he finished the season with like 10.5 sacks.
And he had 0 until what? Around our bye week?
Maybe 2. Let me see. He got a lot. He got like 8 at the end. He played well. I thought he showed that he still got a couple years left in him. It's an interesting question. How do you make a deal for him that is just as financially beneficial, but also more team friendly? He had a sack in week 5 against Chicago. He had one against Cincinnati. Ooh, he had 3 in a row. 1, 2, 3. And then he had one in Green Bay. He put up, gosh, he had a lot this year. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10.5. He had 10.5 sacks. I mean, he got kind of hot towards the end, but he had a consistent season. He started out hurt. I like Big Money. I think that for a long time, I was saying the one that said he made Hardy the player. But man, you put those two guys, we got to find a way to bring Hardy back. That would be awesome.
Which I want to do. And it seems like Hardy wants to come back because, I mean, he told Norman that he would play for free. We know that's not happening. But I do feel like, whether innocent or guilty, that he will see it as he kind of owes us because we did ride with him for a year. And we paid him $13 million for one game. We paid $13 million for him to have a rap career, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he shouldn't take a discount, but what he should do is that his behavior merits a discount. So he was in line to get like a $60 million deal this year. Imagine if he would have put up 14 sacks this year, how much money he would have made. $70 million or whatever.
Yeah.
45 of it guaranteed. Maybe you can get him for $25 million guaranteed.
I think we get him back if only I think we'll only sign him if we give him a 1-year prove-it-to-me deal. Like,
you think so?
I think he would sign for that because, first of all, that's a whole year where his image can look better, where he can see if he can put up the same numbers as he did. If he does, he can go out there and get that big money.
But that's what we did this past year.
But he didn't play.
Yeah, but he whooped that girl's ass.
So exactly, I mean, why would you give him a long-term deal after this?
Because you might be able to get him for cheap. Like, what if you could get him for 4 years?
And where do you get the money to give him a long-term deal? If we only got $10 million before we make moves right now.
Hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, maybe, yeah, I guess that's a good point. And Coney Ely, to be honest,
He came on at
he,
the end of the year.
he played well for a rookie. He played better than most defensive ends do, I think, in their
And I
rookie
think
season.
and I think it came down to if Hardy was there, nobody would have commented on Coney Ely. A lot of people, was like, why did we draft him in the second round towards the beginning of the year? But imagine if we would have had Hardy there, you give Coney that chance to develop to where Coney comes on at the end of the year like he did right now.
Yeah, I don't even think Coney would have come on at the end of the year. I don't think he would have gotten hardly any playing time.
I mean, well, I think the whole thing you could have done with Coney Ely is do like we do with when Hardy's here and move him on the inside. Imagine if on third down we had CJ, Hardy, Coney on the inside, and either Dewan or KK on the inside.
I like KK. I think he is the guy, man. I think that dude
At this
is a
point, to
baller.
me, he's better than Star.
I think they need to be
Just
together. I
saying.
think they complement each other well. They have different style games. Starr had a tough season. He was coming on at the ends, but that broken foot. All we can do is this. We got to give it up to KK. That dude had an awesome season.
Yeah, but to me, why I feel like he's better is because he's developing his run stopping abilities at a faster rate than Star is developing his pass rushing. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because it was both at that opposite end of the spectrum, as far as KK being a great pass rusher and Star being a great run stopper. But I feel like KK has kind of developed. I see KK make plays in the run game now, a lot more
And
than
I
he did
think
last year.
Short's done it too without the opportunity that say Starr has had. Starr has been playing 40 snaps a game for 2 years now. Um, Quan Short didn't make his first start of the season until week 10 this year.
Yeah. At this point, Colin Cole is a free agent. I'm kind of ready to let him go at this point.
Yeah, but I think, is he younger than Dwan Edwards?
I know they both in that 30 range. I think Colin might be older because remember he did sit out for like a year or two. I can.
Dwan Edwards is my age. He's 33. And Colin Cole is 34. So yeah, Colin Cole's got it. Dwan Edwards is good, man. So if we could keep him for another year, that would be awesome. I think he would like to play with the Carolina Panthers again because he's productive.
DeJuan's a free agent.
No, I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question. I didn't even look it up, but I figure his deal would be so short. Both of those dudes. Let's see.
He had 4 sacks this year.
Who?
DeJuan.
Dwan, and he didn't play a ton. I mean, he's a good rotational guy though. 4 sacks is
Exactly.
legitimate for a dude coming off the
And
bench.
remember he had that one pick on Breeze.
I don't know why this is taking so long to load.
But yeah, I would definitely welcome if DeJuan is a free agent. I would definitely welcome him back. Colin Cole, I'm kind of at this point. I feel like you can sign somebody. Oh, did you actually see Love was actually playing pretty good? I don't know where he came from, but he was looking decent in that Seahawks game.
Who?
His last name was Love. I don't know who he was.
I've never even heard of that dude.
He had number 61, and he played last game. But I actually see him back there, bothering Marshawn a couple times last game. I don't know who he is.
I ain't even ever heard of him. Dwan Edwards has his deal is through 2014. It looks like.
The Love guy's name was Kyle Love.
I never even heard of him.
What
about this? Is your boy Colin Jones didn't look so good?
He's not my boy. I hate Colin.
I know you've hated him forever. Dude, we weren't paying Dwan Edwards jack. We didn't pay him
Yeah,
squat.
yeah, I seen it. It was like a million or something.
Yeah, he got $1 million to he got $2 million this year.
And he
That's
had a
nothing.
beast. And he had a beast mode the year before. Not
Yeah,
this
he
year, but
only got
last year.
um yeah, Colin Jones, dude, he made a great play against I guess it was Marshawn maybe or somebody in that run game. Was it you that said he was great against he's good against the run but sucks against the pass?
You said talking about who?
The Colin Jones kid.
Yeah,
Where was Glanton? We didn't get to see him in
I
that
seen him
game. I
get
didn't
burnt.
feel
I know he
really.
missed a tackle. He missed a tackle on that big Marshawn run.
And then you had Carrington Bynum in there playing on special teams. That's exciting, I think.
Which I have actually met him. He's cool people. He had the injury at the beginning of the year, is why he never really got tried at corner. But he did. What game was that? It was one of them last ones. Was it the Atlanta game where we took out the secondary and he got the play? He made the tackle at the end. I think it was the Atlanta game, and Atlanta tried to score at the end.
I don't know. I don't remember. I think that's right because it was in the last game, last two games of the season. I saw him. Um, you know, I think we're in good. I think we're in good spot in the secondary if we could just get a safety, man. We're gonna need a safety bad.
You talking about for Roman, or you want to sit Boston down next year?
Well, I think we need to definitely have.
Is Deku still under contract?
It don't matter. Is that he don't need to play? He sucks. Trey Boston played better than him as a rookie, who missed half the season with an injury.
Trey
I feel
Boston's
like
got burnt in a couple big situations though.
he did, but he
He takes
almost made the
bad
play.
angles sometimes.
He almost made the play. He wasn't that good at Carolina.
Chill.
I know. That's true, though. True.
He was better before they switched his position.
Okay,
Trey
well
Boston.
let's get to the last bit, which is what do you think about next year? Are we going to be in good shape or bad shape?
I think we'll definitely be in contention for the NFC South at least again. I think it boils down to the same two teams, us and Atlanta. New Orleans is in salary cap hell right now. They're like $25 million over the cap, and the offseason ain't even started yet. And I think they're still gonna have holes in that defense, keeping Rob Ryan. I know they still believe in the whole
Are
Jairus
they
Bird
keeping
thing.
him? Are they keeping Rob Ryan?
As far as I know, they're still keeping him.
Oh man, that's surprising. I felt like I feel like that team just imploded.
And that's the thing with them, is that they have the players on the roster. It's just something about that chemistry to me doesn't really work. I mean, to me it seems like it's Breeze and Peyton riding with each other, and everybody else is kind of just doing their own thing.
Yeah, I don't think Mark Ingram comes back to them.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they're in salary cap hell right now, so I don't know how they're going to have the money to do it. Colston's going to be another year older. The receiving core is not that good. I've been trying to tell people that. They just look better because they have Breeze playing with them. Out of that receiving core, besides Brandon Cooks, who's really there?
And this is you got Jimmy Graham.
I mean,
I know
yeah,
he's not a receiver, but he is a receiver. But Angie also even have to consider are we seeing the kind of decline of Drew Brees even?
yeah. And then on defense, I think they're about to lose one of them out. They're about to lose one of them outside dudes, either
That
Gillette
Bird.
or.
Oh yeah, they can't keep both of them.
I think they
But
just
that's a
gave.
player.
Yeah, I think they just gave one a deal, so I think the other one might be leaving after this year.
I think Bird is good though, man. I think he comes back. He can help a lot.
The thing with
On
Bird
defense.
though was Bird really that good, or did he have opportunities because the Bills' defensive line is that good?
I think he's that good. I
To
don't. I
be
mean, I
paid
think
to be paid that much money though.
he got paid, dude. He got paid.
And again,
Uh,
you got three safeties. You got him. You got Raphael Bush, and you got Vaccaro, Vaccaro had a horrible sophomore year, in my opinion.
After a good rookie season too.
Rookie year, yeah, his rookie year was. I mean, I'll give credit where credit's due. His rookie year was on point, but this year I feel like he just.
That Bird thing, though, that's a good question. To me, the Bird signing, they didn't have any money when they signed him.
I feel
And
like it
I
was
don't know.
just a big move they made to go along with the whole champ thing, I guess, to make it seem like, oh, we're about to run the table. Because the Saints fan base and their team really thought that.
Well, I think that even beyond them, the media really believe. Everybody thought there was no way. I think they were worse than I thought they could ever be. I didn't think they could be as bad as they were this year.
They just don't have that it factor. They don't have, and that's the problem with them and Atlanta.
But
They
they
don't have
did
that.
2 years ago. 2 years ago, they just. I guess you know what? Maybe we saw signs of this towards the end.
Yeah, they've never really had that mental toughness aspect of the game.
Because they fell. They start off 8-whatever. 8-1, and then we're able to overtake them and win the division. That
And
is
they
they
lose
lost a lot of.
games that they shouldn't every year because they suck on the road. And then
I'm
this year they
starting.
just fell apart at home. So it was just
I'm starting to think this is that if I could call the Carolina season for next year, if I could get the exact season that I want us to start out winning a couple of games to build some confidence, and then hit our rut kind of early mid-season, because look at all the teams that went 12-4 over the last years that have started out so strong, and they're just beat up and beat down
honestly
by
at this. I feel like I don't want the number 1 and the number 2 seed.
like playing through is just gets you the mojo.
Yeah, and we suck after a bye week anyway. Have we won after a bye week since Ron's been here?
No. We do, and it's not even close. It's terrible. Like, we look worse coming out of the bye than we went going in.
Because who did we play after the bye this year? Was it Minnesota?
Vikings, yeah, the Minnesota, and we got trounced, man. Yeah, it was Minnesota. We got beat down like we didn't even get off the airplane.
Our special teams didn't get off the airplane. Ain't that the game we gave up? What, them 2 block putts?
Yep. I mean, they beat us without,
they scored like what, 1 offensive touchdown, maybe 2.
Yeah, they didn't turn the ball over. Our defense did let them move the ball and run the clock down. That it was tough to come back from that. I feel like another thing too about these types of games is
that game against. I'm looking at the stat book right now. We outpassed them and outran them that game.
Yeah, we won the statistics but lost the game because
exactly.
You can't. And this is what Carolina did not have this season, outside a few to Kelvin Benjamin, was big plays. We didn't have them last year. We didn't have those explosive. Have you ever seen? And this, I'm starting to wonder this. Is Cam Newton the right quarterback for the type of game that Ron Rivera and Mike Shula want to run? Which means, look, Cam Newton brings so much to the table, but the one thing he doesn't bring is a mistake-free game. He's gonna make something. He's gonna make a mistake unless he grows out of this. You can just go ahead and count on it, but you got to accept that with all the good he does. But when you only get the ball in the red zone three times, you can't make a mistake.
I think part of that, though, is because Cam throws every pass with a 100-mile-per-hour fastball.
Yeah, he doesn't have any touch. None.
Which is the only thing that I can ever say that shows merit of the people who want Derek Anderson over Cam. It's because Derek can kind of sell it a little bit and let it float in that bread basket. With Cam, it's coming with flames off the end of it every time.
He's gonna throw that shit through a piece of plywood.
Exactly. And that's the difference in that game that I saw between him and Russell Wilson when I was, sitting down watching both of them.
I think he's gotten better though at that. He hasn't gotten the touch pass, but he doesn't throw the 100-mile-an-hour fastball to the receiver that's 5 foot away from him as much anymore. I don't think he throws that 100-mile-an-hour fastball at the receiver 2 feet away from him as often anymore.
Not as often, but, I mean, it may look a little bit different because our receivers may have better hands. Because I've seen Ted Ginn drop a screen pass. I've seen who we had before.
But Ted Ginn could never catch, man. That dude had stone hands. He sucked.
But his speed added a different dimension to the game.
No, it didn't. Because
Ted Ginn was looking pretty decent as a receiver last year.
No.
So with our receiving core this year,
Philly Brown was a better deep threat than Ted Ginn ever was.
I disagree with that.
Because I would
have rather kept Ted Ginn than to sign Jericho Cotchery.
I would think this is that Ted Ginn's value really came out of the punt return game.
He didn't return any punts for a touchdown for us last year.
It doesn't matter. He got real positive yards. We can look at his average right here. It's not that he returned. It's not that you got to get a touchdown. It's that he didn't fair catch it and we didn't get no yards. Is my man averaged, he moved the ball effectively, which gave us good. Think of that San Francisco 49ers game. He didn't score a touchdown there, but he ran like 2 19-yard punt returns. That helped.
All right, Ted Ginn for us had 36 catches for 556 yards.
I bet you Philly Brown had more catches than that.
556 yards is a number 3. What was he? Number 3 last year? Number 4? Number 3 receiver last year.
He was our number 3.
That's not that bad. 500 yards.
Let's see what his
and he averaged like 15 yards a catch. That's a first down every time he catches it.
How many drops did he have? That's what I want to know.
No more than KB had this year. Nah, he had more catches than Philly and more receiving yards and more touchdowns.
He had 26.
Philly had 21 catches for 296 yards and 2 touchdowns.
He had a long last year of 41 yards on the punt return game. He had a 70-yard one, and he averaged 12.2 yards a return last year, and that was the second highest in his career in punt returns. Let's see what did Philly Brown have this year in catches?
21.
He had 21 catches
for 290 something.
And he was hurt most of the time, and he was undrafted, and he didn't get a starting position at all. I wonder what Burson's punt return was.
Like 2 yards.
You know what? This is the same story though for the Carolina Panthers forever.
We don't have a return game?
Never. He averaged, how about this? Think of this. This is awesome.
5 yards? 5 yards.
6.1. Half. Exactly half of what Ted Ginn. His long this season was 18 yards. He had 14 returns.
I think I can get 18 on a punt return.
I would die on a punt return. I'd have a heart attack first. It's hard to catch a punt. That shit is hard.
It's not as hard If you can play receiver, you can return punts as long as you're not scared.
I think we got to draft a guy not to be a punt returner. That's a problem we've made in the past. We drafted Joe Adams, we drafted Amani Edwards, all these guys we drafted to be punt returners. I don't think we need to do that. I think we need to draft a guy that can return punts. That's a
Yeah,
receiver.
that's why I want to draft a slot guy, a smaller slot guy later on in the draft.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe from a small school or something, and have them play receiver in the slot and punt returner.
yeah. That to me, that's the only difference between this team. If we would have had a more effective punt, and you know what, we weren't even pinning dudes this year. In deep a lot of times. Our special teams game this season was straight garbage. We gave
But that's
up
because
the
the
most.
defense was worse, meaning they was getting farther down the field.
I didn't feel like Norman was just booting them like he was last year. I felt like he was like punting 70 yards last year.
Um, I mean, yeah, at times, but I mean, he had a couple of those plays this year. But I think the biggest difference is our defense was worse most of the year, meaning the team is moving the ball. So hey, you might make that team putt, but you're starting out at the 20, and we wasn't always last year. No matter where we started from, Cam could take us down the field and put up points, or at least get us close to the end zone. This year, you don't have that, so you might be
I bet you
putting
we
from your
scored more
own.
points this year than we did last year.
I doubt it, because remember we had that streak last year where we had 30 like 5 games in a row.
We did that like towards the end a lot this year.
We had 30 against the Saints, 30 against the Falcons, but nah, the Browns game we didn't. The Bucks game we didn't. The Lions game we had maybe 20 something.
Nortman averaged 39 point yards punt against the Seahawks. That was just the Seahawks. Trying to see what our kick returns were. Brenton Burson had 1 for 24. Fozzie Whitaker had 2 for 21, 2 for 42. That was what killed us, man. I really felt like that was something that we did not. And you're right, the defense didn't really help on this, but towards the end, even when they were playing well, I didn't feel like we turned it on special teams. I still felt like it sucked. Like people
Because remember we
were
was
turning the
moving
ball against us.
we were moving the ball. We just wasn't scoring in the red zone.
We gave up the most yards on special teams out of any team this season. Pretty sure we were the worst.
Probably.
Well. All right, Carolina Panthers. To me, I like. This is my final thought on them going into next year is that not only did we start 7 rookies this year, but they got some real meaningful minutes and time. I think we got to evaluate some guys at some key positions that may have taken another year to figure out if these guys are going to be the real deal. I think what we found out was Andrew Norwell. He can play guard in the NFL. I think we found out that Trey Turner is going to work. I think we found out that K'Wan Short is going to continue to grow. And Benwickery and Josh Norman can really play man defense, I feel like. So there's some good things coming out of there. You don't think so?
Benet's a good corner, but he's not a man corner, in my
You don't
opinion.
think you can hang with him?
I like him better as a zone corner.
Sure, you like him better that way, but before we didn't have a guy that Captain Munnerlin.
I mean, he can play man in certain situations.
Right.
He can play, yeah, but I'm not gonna sit Benet on somebody and say shut him down the whole game. I mean, look at what Curse did to him.
No, but that's what we got Norman for. But what we couldn't do is last year we couldn't play man coverage. We just couldn't. This year we can do it a little bit at times. I think Ben looks like he's going to be good. I think Trey Boston, I don't know about him yet. We'll see, but he's better than we thought he was going to be. Here's what you got to worry about: Thomas Davis. You know how many? when do you
Thomas
start?
Davis, me and a Seattle fan was talking about it during the game, man. That speed, he still got it, bruh.
He's
Did,
awesome. He's
did you
awesome.
did you see that screen pass that Marshawn got? And as soon as he saw it, he just took off and like he still got that speed. I still think he might be one of the fastest linebackers in the league right now after 3 ACL tears.
Like it's tighter or something. He got like spring put it. But here, I guess the thing that I say with Thomas Davis is this: at what point do you start thinking about, like you said with Greg Olson, bringing in somebody to come behind him?
I think it's harder with Thomas Davis because we've been unsettled at the other linebacker spot for the past 3-4 years.
What? Because Beeson was hurt?
I mean, because I'm really tired of the whole AJ Klein Chase Blackburn debate about, because both of them sucks to me. I feel like we haven't really been established at the other linebacker spot probably since James Anderson left.
But we don't play a lot of 3 linebackers. We only need 2.
But we can't.
Well, we can't because then you got to make your corners play more in a dang man, right?
But Colin Jones is your third corner. It's easier to play. It's easier to play dime or nickel situations if you have better corners. Like the Seahawks can do that all game because Sherman's taking one player out of the game pretty much, and when Maxwell's healthy, he's pretty good, and Simon is better as a third corner. You know what I'm saying? You can do that if you're deeper at the corner position. You can do that more so. But when you're playing Colin Jones trying to guard slot receivers,
I think you bring a good point about Thomas Davis, though, is that I think he might this season. I think was better than last year for him. I think he was the most.
He had the injuries at the beginning of this year, but I think because he had to be that emotional leader, and nobody else was really there to do it with him. It looked different this year.
He really took on that leadership role, man. I mean, it was crazy.
Because like I said, what I've always said. Go ahead.
For a dude that didn't think he was going to play football anymore. I mean, good Lord, that guy does. I mean, you gotta be if we could get 2 more years out of him with Kuechly, and then bring in somebody else. I mean, if you could start eyeballing a guy to be Thomas Davis's replacement in 3 years. Imagine having 2 elite linebackers for a decade. That's crazy.
Because Luke, as long as we keep him, is gonna be that.
As long as he don't get hurt. And
he hasn't. He's been pretty durable for. I mean, did he get hurt at Boston College?
Not that I don't think so. There's no way. He actually maybe did a little bit, but there's no way he could have gotten hurt. He only played 3 years in college and had 540 tackles. How the hell do you even do that? 3 years.
And every year since he's been in the league, he's led the league in tackles, hasn't he?
And they only play 12 games. You know what I'm saying? It's not like they play 18 like in the NFL if you make the playoffs. He's led the league. Yeah, right. He's led the league 2 years. He is a tackling machine. Now, a lot of people joke on him saying that he likes to jump on the pile when it's already been done. He's awesome. He's insanely good.
I don't see that when I watch our defense. I see him and Thomas getting there first and everybody else coming.
I think, man, what if you did this?
What's sad is he's the best linebacker right now. He still has stuff that he can work on.
Oh, yeah, like pass coverage. What if you did this? What if you could find a guy in 2 years that was as good as Levante David to be weak side? I mean, that would just be sick.
And you know what's sad is we actually could have had Levante David. We took Amini Silatolu over Levante David.
We picked a lot of shitty players over some decent ones, but that's what happens. I think we had our better draft. I think, how about this, is that Dave Gettleman's first draft, right,
has panned out
Marty Herney's
He
did.
didn't draft. Yeah, exactly. Well, Gettleman's first was he drafted Star in them, didn't he? Yeah, he did.
Yep, that
Um,
was their first one.
I feel like the difference between Marty could hit in the first round, but he wasn't hitting anywhere else. I feel like everybody that Gettleman drafts, besides of course Tyler Gaffney, played a role on this team this year. Whether it was from KB, whether it was from Coney, whether it was from Benet, Trey, the other Trey. Everybody played a role on the team this year.
He's hit. He did. He hit in some deep rounds this year. But you're right. I agree with you. You know, to give Marty Kearney his due, he didn't ever miss on a first round pick.
Yeah, I mean he took Luke.
Except Everett Brown.
He took Everett in the first. I thought that was a second.
Maybe it was a second, but I think we traded or something for him or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, he got Luke. He got Cam. He got Thomas Davis. He got John Beeson.
D'Angelo, J. Stu.
Yeah, I mean he could kill the first round, but after that, he always
not gonna be there within 2 years.
Yeah, I mean just a lot of them.
The only late guys who stayed around was Cat before he left and Hardy.
Yep, and Hardy really wasn't. He doesn't get the count because he got hurt his senior year, and
then he had a car, something with a car, didn't he? DUI.
No, I think he got that. I think what he had with the car was that motorcycle accident on the way to training camp.
No, that was after. I think in college, though, he had a DUI. And didn't he flip on an Ole Miss coach or something?
Yeah, he was weird. Everybody knew it was his character. Obviously, he still is. I mean, it's just the same story. He's great. He's good on the field, but he's a weirdo off the field.
Yeah, if you ever watch his videos that he posts on Twitter, you're like, really, dude?
I saw something, man, his first day back on Twitter, and he was talking about crossing swords and sleeping with his chick with somebody. I was like, dude, your first day back, and you're talking about banging a chick in a three-way with another dude. Like, can we just
tone it down for a little bit, at least the first week?
He's funny. He's weird, but, that's what happens when you got $13 million to do nothing.
Exactly.
All right, I gotta get going, though.
Yeah. That's the show for the night, man. Tony from Cat Chronicles, thank you for all you've done this year, man. You definitely gave me a platform, and I enjoy doing this type of thing. Off season, I haven't really figured out how often I'm gonna do it. Whether I'm gonna do it I don't think I'm gonna do it every week. I'm not gonna feel like it. I might do it once something happens. You know what I'm saying? Like if we sign somebody, or if, for example, we sign Chris Carter's son, I might do one. Other than that, I don't think it's gonna be an every week thing. But I thank you for the opportunity and featuring me on your website and everything like that.
Yeah, man, dude, you gotta. I'd say, find something. There's gonna be plenty to talk about coming up soon. We'll get to take a break for a little while probably throughout February. But around the end of March, it's gonna be, the draft will be kicking up and people will be excited. Maybe you do a once a month show or something like that.
Yeah. And other than that, man, shout out to all my other Panther Nation brothers, whether it's Big Q, everybody tune into his podcast tomorrow, the Black and Blue podcast. I'll be on there. Me, him, and The Voice. I think he told me, I think he's gonna bring in a couple more people towards the end. But between him, whether it's Panther Nasty, I call him Willie most of the time, but
Willie P.
Yeah.
That's my boy.
Him,
I love some Willie P. He's the coolest dude I know.
Yeah, Pat Coltrane, Joe. I still don't know how to say Joe's last name. I ain't gonna try it. The freaking Puerto Rican.
Oh yeah. Joe Riolano. Good wishes to Joey. He had to go to the doctor today. He had a procedure done. Everything's going well though. Yeah, man, we've really developed a cool kind of Panther family, I feel like.
Yeah, and that's honestly how I see it. Like, I feel like y'all my brothers, man, and y'all know even outside of Twitter, I'll come and ask you for advice about something. I'll ask Big Q, I'll ask Willie about something. I think that's the difference between Panther Nation and everybody else. We don't divide into any cliques or nothing like that. We all support each other. We all ride with each other, man. And I
It's been
just
fun,
appreciate
man.
that.
It's been fun, man. I'm glad that, man. It's been a great. You brought a lot of football knowledge to the C3 podcast. I'd like to just thank you for your support, man. Um, you've been awesome. You've been a cool. You know what? And that's what I found is I got into this. I didn't know. We just started making friends, and that's
Yeah.
all it's about right at this point. Is we all are just doing the same thing, and that is we're all nerds when it comes to football. And you know what? We all think Carolina's going to win every week, except for me. And then I get scared.
Yeah, man. And you know, man, everything I do, all Panther Nation, man. Like I appreciate love all y'all, man. Y'all my brothers for real.
Word up. Well, good end of the season.
Yep. Hopefully we'll see more than 7 wins next year during the regular season.
Y'all check out the C3 podcast tomorrow at 10 or after you check out the Black and Blue.
Yeah, all right. This is your boy MrTMoney1993, aka Straight Facts, because that's how I speak in this YouTube shit, and I'm out.
Word.